Welcome back. You're still watching Guardians of Gaia with myself, Megan Edwards, on Cape Town TV, Channel 263. And we've been looking at all the alternatives and solutions to the energy crisis in South Africa. Be sure to go and use all our social media platforms and let us know of any environmental injustices happening in your communities. In a bit, we chat to Rosley Sibanda, CEO of O.W.E, where they are turning organic waste into energy. Right now, though, the City of Cape Town talks us through the ins and outs of solar PV registration.
Cape Town actively supports the uptake of safe and responsible green energy. That is why all solar PV energy systems, which can generate electricity and power your home, must comply with the City of Cape Town's regulations and be registered prior to installation. If your solar PV system has already been installed, please start the registration process immediately. Grid-tied systems connected to the City of Cape Town's electricity network must be registered to ensure that they comply with the city's requirements, and off-grid or standalone PV systems also need to be registered so that they are not mistaken for grid-tied solar PV systems. If your electricity is supplied directly by Eskom, this does not apply to you. Solar geysers do not need to be registered with the city as they are not generating electricity. While heating water with the sun's energy is fairly safe, generating electricity through solar PV can be dangerous. Why must my solar PV system comply? Unauthorized PV systems could electrocute municipal workers if electricity generated by the PV system feeds into a grid that is believed to be off. Poorly installed solar PV systems could cause household fires. The safety and quality of the entire grid may be compromised if your installation is not compliant. To grow and maintain the city's electrical infrastructure, we need to plan with knowledge of all generation systems on the network. This is preempting national legislation, which will come into effect and require registration. To ensure that your PV system is safe and compliant, please visit capetown.gov.za/solarpv to start the process and download the application forms. Alternatively, click on the SSEG registration trending button on the home page. You may require the assistance of the installer to complete some of the technical sections of the forms, and an EXA-registered engineer, technologist, or technician may need to certify your solar PV system. There is no charge for registering your system, but if you fail to register, you will be charged a service fee for the removal of your solar PV connection, and your electricity supply may also be disconnected. Thank you for working together with the city to create a safe grid. Go to capetown.gov.za/solarpv to start the registration process and visit savingelectricity.org.za for more information.
O.W.E is a resource-efficient company that effectively takes part in the circular economy by providing sustainable waste management services, with the added benefit of converting organic waste into renewable forms of bioenergy.
So I'm Rosley Sibanda. I'm formerly from a financial background with 28 years of banking experience in the financial service industry, having worked for 8 banks. The work that O does is basically to assist businesses achieve their Scope 3 emissions, their Scope 3 carbon emissions, and we do that through sustainable waste management services with the element or the added benefit of energy production. And the idea is to help our clients divert their organic waste streams and all other forms of waste streams from the landfill. So waste energy positively affects the environment. There's a lot of scope for that. Firstly, it cleans up the environment. So when we actually take waste away from the landfill, we're actually cleaning up the environment. And 2, when we separate it from source, we actually keep the other waste streams cleaner, because those waste streams like plastic, cardboard, and bottles can then be used in the circular economy. And when we remove or use waste as energy, we actually divert it from the landfills, which that also prevents the generation of the greenhouse gases, like you've just said. which would otherwise be emitted had the waste gone straight into landfills. And yeah, and I think once we properly beneficiate our waste, our organic waste, we end up with energy, and the energy is biogas energy, carbon dioxide, which is captured and used for the production of um, the production used in the production of generating refrigeration units, welding machines, carbonated drinks. Of energy that comes from waste in South Africa is at this point in time, I cannot put a finger on it, but what I can say to you is that we have 300 biogas plants within South Africa, and of those 300, only 50 are registered as commercial biogas plants, and those biogas plants each produce like 100 megawatts of energy. So if you put that into context, then you'll realize that it's a mere 5,000 megawatts being produced from biogas plants within the South African context. The process of turning waste into energy is twofold. We basically have two categories of technology. The one is the fermentation process, and the other is basically the thermophilic process. What the fermentation process does is acts as an anaerobic digester, which is like we usually use the analog of a stomach. So it biologically breaks down food waste and in the absence of air. And what that does is, as it breaks it down, it captures the gases, which is the methane gas and the carbon dioxide that is produced, and therefore those different byproducts are used as energy forms in the circular economy. And the thermophilic process is basically where we use high heat, and that heat then combusts combusts the waste into energy. And those type of technologies are the pyrolysis plants and the gasification plants.
The conversion of organic waste into renewable forms of bioenergy is an indispensable component of sustainability.
The global energy crisis has no easy fix. However, we haven't been overwhelmed by it yet, but we will be if we carry on the way we do. The problem is one that we simply cannot just fix in a couple of years. In fact, it may get progressively worse over the next century or so. We simply have to balance our energy requirements with our very rapidly shrinking resources. Well, that's it from me, Megan Edwards, Guardians of Gaia tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember that every act of energy conservation is an act of patriotism. Good night.